Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night. We've got an amazing testimony from my friend Jennifer. If you are watching this, please share it out. We have an amazing, amazing topic for you tonight. Women in recovery, strong women in recovery who are not scared to open their mouth. And that's what we are doing. We are sharing our messages. We are sharing, we're going to be talking about being a mom. We're going to be talking about dating in recovery. We're going to be talking about all different things. So, whenever you guys see this, make sure you drop where you are watching from and drop your recovery date in the comments. So, this is my lovely friend Jennifer. I met her
Hi.
at the most amazing women's retreat that I was at this weekend. And I mean, I met so many amazing women. How many were there? What, 32, 34?
32. 32.
32. Like amazing. We had, wait, what was it? Collectively 204 years in recovery or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, that gives me
Yes.
chills now.
Uh-huh. I mean, ranging from what I think it was like 18 months up to like 30 something years or
30,
something like that. Yeah.
35 or 37.
Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
She's
I
the goat,
mean,
definitely.
yeah. She is the goat. Yes. Jennifer was my roommate and we just had such a blast hanging out. I was like, you've got to come on my show and talk and tell your story. So let's start with a little bit about, your what it was like before. Like growing up, did you grow up in like a pretty normal household? Did you grow up in a uh like traumatic household? What was that like?
So, my childhood really was traumatic. Um, my first memories as a child was trauma and chaos and domestic violence, and it that's all I remember as a child was abuse and yelling and screaming and
Wow.
for a long
So
time.
that really like I feel like kind of like shapes us, those kind of things when we grow up in those kind of environments. It like shapes us to, like what we think home is supposed to look like, what we think life is supposed to look like, what we think love is supposed to look like. So when did
Right.
and was your family involved in addiction at all?
My mother and my biological father was addicted to cocaine and alcohol. Um, he was abusive to my mom and my brothers. Um, he never physically abused me, but just them. And yeah, he wasn't a good guy at all.
Gotcha. So, when you were kind of like a teenager, is that when you kind of started like experimenting with drugs, or how old were you?
My first experiment with drugs was when I was 12. Um, I I started running away from home at the age of 12. I started having sex with older men at the age of 12, experimenting with drugs at the age of 12, and going to YDC at the age of 12. That was the whole turning point of my life,
Okay,
the age
so
of 12.
12 o'clock, you got locked up the first time.
Yes.
And what was that? What
And
what happened?
so the first time I went to YDC, it was very short and sweet. It was maybe 24 hours or maybe 48. It was really short. I went to court. The judge let me go. And um, I continued to run away. I was I would never stay home. Um, I got a taste of the drugs and the fast life, and I wanted to be in it at all times. So I never was home. My mother was still in active addiction with alcohol, and she met my stepdad when I was in 97, maybe. No, she married my stepdad when I was 12, and that's when I started running away. I don't know if I did it out of jealousy or anger. There's probably a little bit of all kind of emotions built in that, of reasoning or excuses, but I never wanted to be home. I didn't like the relationship. Um, you know, I wanted my mom's attention. I didn't like him that much. Um,
Hmm.
so I continued to
So,
run away.
and so, how many times did you go to the youth detention center?
Oh my gosh. So I started off going to Rome RYDC and Marietta RYDC. Between those two, at least 5 times a piece, and then opened up Paulding YDC, and I opened that up, and I was there at least 10 times. I was in and out of
Wow.
juvie from the age of 12 to the age of 18 until they couldn't do anything else with me. I went to boot camp twice, once in Macon, once in Swainsboro. I was institutionalized for a year in Douglasville for behavior health. I was awarded the state. The judge awarded me to the state. Like, they couldn't do anything with me until I turned 18, and then that's when my adult trouble started.
So, what kind of drugs were you doing when you were under the age of 18?
So when I was 12, I I was introduced to everything. Methamphetamines, crank, when crank was really popular back then. Um, Crack cocaine, marijuana, the the date rape drug, the liquid stuff.
GHB? Mm-hmm.
Um, yep. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of blank spots. I don't remember a lot of things. Like, I could be places, and I would have like days missing. Can't put stuff
Wow.
together, but that was back then. Yeah.
So, were you in a lot of different relationships? I don't know about you, but for me, like, I used relationships as addictively as I used drugs. And very similar to yours, was brought up in a very like chaotic, abusive household. My, idea of what love was not, I didn't have a good example growing up, right? So it caused me
Right.
to like be in relationships thinking that certain things were okay when they really weren't.
Right. So I don't know, like, the what was the question again? Say it again.
Like, did you experience like codependency in relationships when you were young? Like with like romantic relationships with men?
No, I never I never could stay still to be in a relationship with one person. I was all over the place. I was pregnant at 15. I had an abortion. I, that was very, very traumatic for me.
That's something that, we
Uh,
just really don't
I
talk
was just
about a lot, like as women, you know what I mean? Like, because It is very traumatic. I experienced that one time before I had my daughter, and it was like I didn't know how much like guilt and stuff that I would have afterwards. I wasn't prepared for the emotions that came with it. And it's like people, I think, just kind of sweep it under the rug. We just kind of just like sweep it under the rug, like, oh yeah, like, we're just not going to talk about it and pretend like it didn't happen. But then we have that like wounded trauma that is like there that we just kind of skate over. So yeah, that's very traumatic.
Yeah, I really, really resent myself for it. That was one of my biggest shames on myself. I was in YDC when I found out I was pregnant. Um, and I used that to get out, me wanting to have an abortion because the judge wasn't going to let me out. But my mom fought for me, and she was like, well, she needs an abortion. It's her right as a woman. So he had no choice but to let me out. But deep down inside, I really didn't want to
Hmm.
get rid of the baby. I just wanted out of YDC. So, amongst other things, but
Right.
that was the main reason.
And, I just want to put it out there for anybody who is watching who has had that experience before, that you are not alone. You don't have to feel ashamed and carry it with you. There's no condemnation in that, and we, for me as a Christian, as a follower of Jesus, I fully believe that the bloodshed of Jesus covers all sin for all people, period. So like we don't have to like carry that, you know what I mean, that guilt and shame. I feel like guilt and shame is one of the biggest things that keeps people stuck in addiction, especially with like being a mom and stuff.
It
And
is.
yeah, so and you are a mom and you have what,
I
one
am
daughter?
two daughters and
Two.
one son. Yeah, two daughters, one son, 16, 18, and 19.
Right. And so, okay, so you had your babies kind of young, even though, right? Because how old were you?
Yeah, I was 21 when I had my first, and then 23, 25. So not too young.
What was 21 is still pretty young. It's half a baby, though. I mean, seriously. Like, I have a 19-year-old son. God forbid he has a baby. We're in big
Yeah.
trouble, you know? So, I mean, what was that like being 21 years old and pregnant?
Oh gosh. So my first pregnancy was really it didn't go like it was supposed to go. I was in addiction while carrying her. I couldn't stop doing drugs. Um, it was it was I was so deep in addiction I couldn't stop, and I kept saying I was going to stop before I had her, but I ended up getting high one night and my water broke, and I was like,
Wow.
crap.
That
So
is a buzzkill.
yeah, it was it was not how that was supposed to go down.
Mm-mm.
And it was not supposed to, that was not how it was supposed to happen. And um I ended up losing her at the hospital, but not to DFAS. DFAS got involved, but they let family members take her home. And it was my husband at the time's family, his brother and his wife came to the hospital and got her. And that was the worst moment of my life. Like, for me to go home without my kid. I got her back in 6 weeks. Um, she had problems like with crying. They had problems with her at night for about a week after she was born, because of the drugs that were in her system. Um, but she's perfect now. She knows all about it. It's not a secret to her. I didn't keep it a secret to her. I was honest with her. So she knows the bad choices I made while I was pregnant with her. But she also knows that I'm sorry for it as well.
Right. And I just want to thank you for being so bold and courageous to even like speak on this, because there's so many women who have experienced this and have so much like guilt, shame, you know, attached to it. And it is so traumatic. I had the same experience with my daughter, and I was addicted to pain pills, and they took her from me right away. Like, I wasn't even allowed to be in the same room with her. And so it was the worst, like, like trauma like I ever felt in my life. I just lost all hope after that. It was like, why am I even here? Why am I even, you know,
Yeah.
alive? You know what I mean? Like, it was so traumatic. And back then too, there
Right.
wasn't we didn't have the recovery coaches like we have now. We didn't have recovery advocates. We didn't have people, in the pregnancy arena that couldn't help with these kind of things and support
Yeah.
and things like that. So we've got some people popping in here. Larry, hey, glad you're here. Um, Laura's coming on. We're doing a women's panel in like 2 weeks. She's got a amazing group. What a Girl Needs in Recovery. Lindsay, hello. Amber, yes, so traumatic. On prescribed
Oh,
medication. I was too. Of course, I was taking more than my prescribed medication, but she said relatable. On subs for years, prescribed, clean, no issues, and dealt with almost all you did as well. Oh, so that's so frustrating too when you're like, on,
yeah.
medication assisted treatment by a doctor, and you still have to deal with the
Yeah.
stigma of, trying to be well. And it's still a battle that we're fighting, in the
Yeah.
recovery realm, and we're still advocating and fighting. And for the women who have, lost their children and have not been able to be in contact with them. I just want you guys to continue to do the
Don't give
right
up.
thing. And yeah, like, definitely just don't give up. Absolutely. Um, Baby guilt is unreal. Yes, it is so traumatic. I did a study, and I
Yeah.
don't ever like really share this, but I did a study about women who lost custody of their children versus women whose children like died, right? And women who lost custody of their
Right.
children were like 30% more likely to go back out and use, to experience
Relapse.
like relapse over and over again, to experience PTSD, anxiety, and depression. So
Yeah.
it is like a
Definitely.
death. It is truly like a death. So so when you were out on the streets, were you, I mean, how did you support yourself? Did you like sell drugs? Did you hustle? I mean, I hustled everything. My whole self.
So I learned how to shoplift, and I was bad and good at it. I went to jail a lot for shoplifting. Um, Caught a couple misdemeanors, a couple felonies for it. Went to prison for it. I never had a job. never ever had a job. I was always in somebody's store taking stuff that I wasn't supposed to take, or borrowing money, or you know, begging for it. My husband at the time, he worked, but I didn't. He would be at work and I would be stealing, or vice versa. I would go stealing, he would stay at home. But it was like that was like a job for me. I made that boosting became a job and a habit, a bad klepto habit that I could not kick for a long time. That's just like another addiction. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
I hated it.
So here I just want to pick out some of these comments real quick. I got caught stealing one time and that was it because I was so, oh my goodness. I was like 18. Geraldine, hey, how are you? 5.5 years clean for Geraldine. Congratulations. 5.5 years. That is a big, big deal. Yes. Lindsay,
Heck
160
yeah.
days. That is awesome. That is so awesome. Lindsay says, I had my third child in active addiction. Luckily, it was before they were snatching the child right from the mother, but he is autistic and he didn't come home for 30 days after he was born due to having to be weaned off of pain meds and Xanax I was abusing. Lifelong guilt there. Yeah, my daughter stayed in the NICU for 6 weeks on they had her on morphine and phenobarbital. It was just so traumatic.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, the first time I ever got arrested for shoplifting, I had just turned 18. And me and my friend Kate, it was during Christmas time, and we lived in New Hampshire. And so I went to a JC Penney and I was like we were like stealing from like JC Penney's and then going to JC Penney in like the next county and like returning for money cuz at that time you could get like up to like $100 cash
Gift
and
card.
we were so twacked out that like we like left and went back to the same JC Penney and like they so when I went to return, I think I'd still like some costume jewelry or something. They like were like, oh, let me get your license. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know like I'm screwed, right? I know this. And so fun fact, about 30 minutes from where I was, my father was head of security for JCPenney. So when they got me, I was like, please don't tell
What?
my father. Please don't call my father. And, they did. And yeah, so I ended up getting like a 2.5 year suspended sentence or something because my father made me like plead guilty to like you know what I mean? Like all the things. It was
Yeah.
embarrassing and he was so angry and disappointed in me. I was like, oh man. So that was the last time that I ever stole from a store. I just like couldn't. I was such a chicken. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. Um Chilling with the
I,
Grays. So
I
proud of you for
basically knew,
turning.
I know for a fact, if I ever got caught shoplifting again, I would be gone for a long time. Like the judge told me to my face. So thank God he told me that because it really helped. You know,
Yep.
I took that in and kept it. So
The consequences. I'm pretty thankful for my consequences too. I got arrested one night for something from like years before and ended up getting like a 4 years in prison suspended like if what do they call it? Felony probation. So like if like anything happened in the next 4 years, then they were like, you're gonna go to prison. Like if you get arrested, if you fail a drug
yeah,
test. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't know how to do that. So what was your like turning point?
my turning point. So the last time I got out of prison, was in 2020, September. I, I didn't have custody of my kids. I moved far away to Columbus. I had lost my mom while in prison. So I felt like, and then I filed for divorce while in prison, and I just kind of like spun out of control again, really fast. Uh, I hit rock bottom really fast after getting out of prison, and the kids didn't want to be around me. Um, Everybody that I loved didn't want to be around me. Uh, I they all pushed me away. Like everybody stopped enabling me. They gave me tough love, and that was the worst feeling to be standing alone. So that was my turning point. I went to jail for VOP back in 2019, and they were just going to give me 60 days time served. And I was like, no, I want to go to a rehab. I have nowhere to go. Like I was homeless. Um, I had nowhere to go. I couldn't be around my kids. They didn't want me around my kids. The kids didn't want me around. So they gave me 14 days to find a rehab. So I eventually got into the extension, and
the extension is where for everybody
I
who
did
doesn't
9
know?
months. I'm there. I left. It's in Cobb County, Marietta. They have a women and a men's extension. It's a 9 month program, the best ever. It'll change your life. It's definitely a God shot. I went twice. I had to go twice, but it's okay. It takes more than sometimes it takes more for others than it does for some. But I went twice. I went for 9 months, left, relapsed, went to jail for another 5 weeks, and then went back to the extension for another year. And I graduated December 22nd of 2023. And that's my turning point. It's been great. Great. About halfway through the second time and at the extension, things just turned around. I think when my family and my kids saw that I was really serious this time, they started trusting me again, helping me again. My brother and his wife bought me a home. They're my landlords, but they helped me get a home for me and my kids. I got my kids back after 9 years.
After 9 years.
I have 2 jobs. After 9 years, I got my kids back. They're older, but they love me and they say I inspire them. And one's right here. What? Say hi. But yeah, this is the oldest one.
Hello.
But so they support me in my recovery, and yeah, so they support me in everything I do, and they love that I stay in meetings. They love that I sponsor people. They love the alumni girls I hang around with, and everybody in recovery that I hang around with. They love the person I am today, and I love the person I am today. And I owe God in the extension, like hands down, like.
So we've got Lindsay on here, said the extension saved my life, about to celebrate 6 years. That is awesome.
Woo-woo. Hey, Lindsay.
Cindy
Hey,
Hall.
Cindy.
Dino, one of our big supporters out of Tampa. So let's talk recovery in real time. Okay, so you have been out here for a minute. You're working two jobs. Oh, look, it's our friend Marie. She's good. She's coming on to do her testimony too, aren't you?
Marie, I love you too.
um,
I will be there.
so tell me, let's talk about some things in early recovery. Like, what are some challenges for women that you see in early recovery?
um, Relationships, men. Um, is that the right answer you're looking for?
Well, that's I mean,
Sex,
yeah,
maybe.
I mean there's so
Um,
many things. I mean, especially like moms. Hey
there's
Rita.
some,
Says so proud of you. Just keep trying to be a little better than yesterday every day. Thank you, Rita.
thank you, Rita.
Um so early recovery, it's like you're trying to find like your footing, right? Still. And, sometimes we're still trying to fill voids, and we can do that through relationships. Sometimes if we don't have our kids back in our life yet, that can be really hard. I remember, my first like
Yeah.
3 months in recovery, I did not get to see my children. My family would not bring them. And it was like, I remember it was Halloween night. I was working two jobs, making minimum wage, and I was working at IHOP, and I was just thinking like, what is the point of this? Like, why am I doing this? I don't even get to see my kids. But I'm so grateful that I didn't quit then. um my my son moved in with me in
Yeah.
January, and it had been 10 years since we had lived together in a home. So it's like, I'm so grateful that now, even though
Yeah.
he's older, like I still get to be like a mom, because I thought like, I felt like, because I missed so much, like that my kids weren't going to need me to be their mom when they got to a certain age. But that is not true. So I want to encourage all the ladies out there that
It's not true.
even even when they are older, they still, yes,
Need
they
you and
need,
want you.
yes, they
Yeah.
need you and want you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um Rita says the hole I needed to fill was filled by Jesus. I fought against it for almost a year and a half, but once I got saved and started discipleship, it was a full transformation. Yes.
So let me just share
That's
this really quick, talking about getting saved. In 2022, I got saved twice in 1 year. Um,
mhm.
I want to do it one more time, but I'm waiting for my kids to do it with me. We're gonna do it as a family.
You want to
But
go get baptized?
huh? I want to do it one more
Were you
time, but I want to do it with my kids. Like we're gonna,
So you guys want to go get like baptized all together?
yeah, we've been talking about it. Because when I did it, they wasn't when they got baptized, I wasn't there. So we want to just do it together um, soon.
That is awesome. They do baptisms on Sunday nights at North Georgia Revival. It is a incredible spirit-filled church. I love it. I try to go at least up there at least once a month. It's in Dawsonville, where we were. It was where we were, like literally like 5 minutes away from where we were.
That's okay. I would love to go.
So
Maybe
yes, I will
try it
go.
out.
I will go, definitely. I would love that. I would love to witness that. That'd be amazing. Um, so
Yeah.
okay. So you were like really blessed that your um brother and his wife helped you with like a place. Because housing, I feel like, is one of the biggest issues when people get out of recovery, right? Like, say you go to a 1 year,
Yes.
9 month program,
Yes.
and then you're like, okay, now what? Like, you're still not financially established. You still need accountability, right? And
Yes.
like, you want to be in a
Yes.
place that's safe. So
Right.
I feel like we need
Um,
more like transitional housing.
I agree. I agree. That the women can actually afford, because one of the things that the extension is that you don't need a man, like, to be independent. And I told my brother, I said, I can't be independent. This is too much. Like, everything is so high. Like, you can be independent, but you're gonna have to have a roommate or something. I
Hmm.
I the more sober livings and cut down on prices for rent and stuff like that. I I've been talking to my brother and sister-in-law about future housing, and me being like overseeing it for them and stuff, because it's really it'll send somebody out into a relapse, stressing over how they're gonna pay week to week at some of these places. I've seen it.
Hmm. Absolutely. And that's like the biggest thing I feel like we need. It's like, because when you're in your program for the first year, you have that, but then it's like after that, like, you still need support. Some people still need advocates to like help get their
Yeah.
kids back. They still need, like, some mental health stuff getting balanced out, right? But it's like it's like we need like a big farm. Now we really sound like a cult. Like a big farm where we can like all live
A farm.
or something. I don't know. Something.
Yeah, I will leave this house and come to that farm just for you.
um
Mm.
so let's talk about oh, Rita says a tiny homes community. Yes, that's it, right? A tiny homes community. We could put a Dollar General up in there, a Kroger. Like, literally, like, just stay in our own compound. Be safe. People be like, "Oh, those
Yes.
drug addicts," and we're like, "These normal people, they are so weird," you know? So, let's talk about dating in recovery. I have zero success stories to share. Um,
Me too. I
I'm
have
still
zero
still
success
here,
stories. Like,
still here, still single. Going Coming up on 9 years in recovery. I did do a little marriage
like,
stint.
it's so quiet.
Like, I just, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure it out. We did do that really cool workshop, which was talking about like, like having like, intimate relationships in recovery, and like
Yes.
what that's like, and how we kind of carry um, our beliefs growing up, our beliefs in active addiction, like into our life in recovery, of how we think we're supposed to be, intimately in a relationship. I am socially awkward, so everything is strange to me. I make everything weird. So, um I'm already like uncomfortable with, what I mean, like myself. So trying to navigate through having like a sex life is really hard, like, because you think like, is this bad? Especially as like a Christian, right? Because it's like, yes, I'm supposed to like save myself for marriage, and that's really hard. That's really hard, you know?
Yeah.
So, but then you also don't want to like, if I feel like I'm like giving myself to someone who like doesn't deserve it, it kind of like triggers me back into my addiction where I'm like, basically I'm like selling myself, right? Or like, and I don't want some dude coming up here trying to like split rent with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll get a roommate. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm giving all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just so hard to navigate because we have these ideas, these old ideas, right? That it's like a trade or something, right? Like, and it's like, no, it's not supposed to be a trade.
Yes.
It's not currency, you know, like, but that's what I did. So to me, it's
Yes.
hard, you know what I mean, to like navigate those kind of things. And even like having feelings, you know what I mean? Like if I start feeling like I'm gonna like have like some feelings for someone, I'm like, oh, turn that off. Like turn that off. Like I'm like, it says like guard your heart in the Bible. Like I've got like a jail cell around it, you know, like you ain't getting in here. No, 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 no. I gotta watch you consistently for like 5 years and make sure that you're not
I
gonna.
can, I definitely have those strings attached. I'm the same. No strings attached for the moment. Like, won't come along, but I'm cool coming home to just my kids or, you know, having conversations. I talk to a couple guys here. Um, but you know, thank God they're busy or they live far away. You know,
Yeah.
um, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with sleeping alone. I'm cool. And that's so weird coming from me because I used to be the one that was so lonely, had to have a man all the time, like for security or whatever. But now I don't care about any of that. Like, I got my kids and my friends. I have like 50 women friends now, and I don't need a man. I have all the women relationships I need. I mean, if a
Mm-hmm.
man comes along that snatches me and sweeps me off my feet, then great. But it hasn't happened yet. I have male friends, but and that's it.
Yeah. It is navigating dating because then it's like, you know, as a person in recovery, you're like, well, you know, how am I supposed to explain my life to a person who hasn't experienced like ridiculous, crazy trauma, addiction? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, don't mind that one mugshot when I got busted in the prostitution sting. You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain that? You know what I'm saying? To like a normal guy, right? It's
Yeah, like,
like,
explain to him. Oh, I was like, it's hard to be
Daniels.
like, you can't really be like open like how we were this weekend, and you can just pick a girl and just open up, or do that with a man. I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm cool with this focusing on myself and recovery. And like I said, if something comes along God wants me to be with, then it'll happen if it's meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Good advice, Rita. Some of us get
Thank you,
impatient, like
Rita.
me. I try to you know, like force God's plan. Like the Lord will be like, because I hear from God, you know what I mean? And he'll be like, no, and I'll be like, well, was that a no? Or Did I hear that right? Like,
No.
but wait, let me just investigate a little further. And every time he's always right. And I'm like, I wish he would just hurry up and bring this man, whoever he is. Uh when it's your husband who God sends, he isn't gonna judge. This is my girl Deja. She is amazing. I'm about to go to Orlando and see her. We're going to
Thank
do some
you,
ministry
Deja.
on the street. It's going to be so awesome. She has a YouTube channel. You guys make sure you go and follow her. She just also did a testimony that was super, super powerful. Love you, Deja. She is amazing, amazing. She's got such a powerful story. Daniel says we are all dented
Hey, Deja.
cans and we are all beautiful. That is very sweet, Daniel. That is very sweet. Let's see. I did that for years and he brought me to my knees and made me start practicing faith. Yes, practicing faith. I know. It's like I don't want to I don't want to declare it though cuz I swear like I'll start praying and declaring and then like God will just like clowns will come to my doorstep and it's a circus, you know? See. Does anyone have any questions for Jennifer? Jennifer, how many times did you go to prison and to um like the youth jails?
Oh, I would say as a youth detention centers, I would say just an estimate between 30 and 40 in and out YDC and boot camps and
Wow.
institutions between Peachford Charter and making YDC. Then as an adult, um, I've been to twice. Did 4 years out of the 2 sentences, and from 18 to the age of 39, I've been to jail about between 60 and 70 times.
Wow.
And I've been on probation since I was 12.
That is wow. So for you to actually have like a stable home, this is probably something like your first time, right? Having like a stable home.
This is my first time having a stable home and not having to fear probation or, like fear having a warrant or anything like that. Having to look over my shoulder for the police, or I can actually
Praise
drive a
God.
car beside the police and not worry about it because I have my license. I finally got that after 20 years.
Hallelujah. That's huge.
Yeah, my probation, my probation cousin doubts me up once a month and tells me how good and proud of me they are, and probation in 3 years. Maybe
That is
earlier.
awesome.
They're thinking about early termination. So yeah.
That is awesome. So Deja says, are drugs really accessible in prison?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. So you can get drugs. You can get them on the streets. You pay a lot more money for a lot more less, but you can get them. Yes, ma'am. It is definitely so. Prison is not where you go to get rehabilitated. Um, they actually have Narcans up on the wall in the prison system. So when people OD, you can get Narcan in prison.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
really scary.
Yeah.
Daniel says, were most of the sentences to county jail or state?
Um, were most of my sentences to county jail? So yeah, so to county jail because I've only been to prison twice, so it's all county jail. I did a lot of county jail time, in and out, in and out.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
was like
how were the conditions like in the county jails?
uh, depends on which one you were at. So county, really. Oh man, I've been to Douglas Cobb, Carrollton, and Paulden. Those were my main goers, and they really sucked. Douglas County fed you twice a day. If you didn't have money on your books, you starved. Um, Paulding County was like a boot camp, like a Camp Snoopy. It was like a family reunion. You can just go there and hang out with your friends. Really, you didn't learn any. You didn't. It really wasn't a consequence to me going to jail. It was a party. Bringing drugs. We would get high in jail. Um, so I would come from the street, would bring the the drugs in.
Wow. Cindy says, what do you do to stay clean?
I go to meetings. I go to a sponsor. Mother's making a change, and at the extension, I stay busy for sure. That's about it. Just go to meetings. I stay in meetings, and I stay around people that are clean. I associate with alumni, and you are who you hang around. Um, if I hang around people that have drugs, I'm gonna end up doing drugs. So I stay away from that for sure. And I hang with the winners.
Awesome. Rita says, you are living proof that recovery is possible and bring hope to parents waiting for their kids to make a change. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Rita. Thank you so much.
Righteous Monkey, hello. Marie says, what did you get out of going to the women's retreat?
I got a bunch of peace. I was able to speak. I got a lot of freedom. Met a lot of new friends, powerful women that aren't scared to cry together, laugh together, share stories and trauma together. It was very, very intimate and powerful with a bunch of and I'll never forget it.
And see, Daniel says the opportunities for alternative sentencing for addicts now are way more numerous than when I was doing criminal defense work in the 90s. A good thing. Yes, absolutely. There are
Yeah.
definitely a lot more options. And we
Yes.
have a lot more
I think it's
advocacy.
like, hmm they definitely do rehabilitation before incarceration, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we always try to push for that because otherwise it's just people aren't changing. They're just doing the same. It's just like a cycle, you know? And Marie said, I know it made me feel like I got a refresh. Yes. Well, hello, Dopiate. That's a neat little I like your little icon, your YouTube icon. Um well, thank you so much for coming on here and being bold and courageous to share your
You're
story.
welcome.
And yeah,
You're welcome.
we would love to have you on here again. I do a lot of different collaborations with a
Anytime.
lot of different people. So yeah, we can get some of our friends to come on from the retreat maybe and do like
Yes.
a ladies talk. I love doing ladies panels. So well, thank you guys. If you have not yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this out so everyone can hear Jenn's amazing story. She is such a powerhouse of hope. And I know that you are going to do big things in the recovery realm because you're such a like advocate. You believe in people. And I believe that you have like a voice that people will listen to. So we just thank you for coming on here and super proud of you. And we are going to end the stream. Love you guys. Hey, Amber.